Hi YouTube, it's Kathy and this is my weekly entertainment wrap-up for June 16th through 22nd. This week I read 4 books, I watched 1 movie, I watched 2 shows, and I listened to 1 book. Welcome to my parents' basement. The first book I read this week was because one of the librarians held it up to a window that was between us, tapped on the window, and went, "You need to read this." It is a children's picture book called Oglivie. It's adorable. It's about this world where these rabbits either wear sweaters or dresses, and this one rabbit wants to be able to do the things that are associated with the rabbits that wear dresses, but also wants to be able to do the things that are associated with the rabbits who wear sweaters. So decides on a daily basis whether or not what they're wearing is a sweater or a dress. And eventually all the bunnies are like, "You need to pick one because you're going back and forth and I don't like it." And essentially the main character says, "No, both." Obviously, my librarians know me because I appreciated this picture book very much. The next book I finished this week was Everything Grows. This is one I just picked up off the shelves at random at work and went, "This looks like it has a pride flag on the front of it. It's probably gonna be queer," and it was. This book is about Eleanor and starts shortly after one of her classmates commits suicide, and then she starts writing letters to him because of an English project. And he seems like a weird choice to write letters to because he used to bully her. This means that besides the first little bit of introduction, this is mostly written in letters that she's writing down in her diary. This is also set in 1993, which definitely plays into how it's written. And not only does the main character struggle with the fact that she likes girls, she is also wondering about her gender identity. I found this was an interesting format. I almost feel like we could have done the whole thing in diary entries instead of the little bit at the beginning kind of explaining the setup. And one character near the end almost seems like a manic pixie dream girl dropped in type of situation, but I can ignore that for now. Because ultimately at this time frame you might not know that there are different gender identities unless somebody lets you know. And it's not like you could just look it up in 1993. Despite the sort of dark premise, this is very hopeful and it's just about this person figuring out who they are, and I really liked that about it. This week I also read the 2nd volume of Umbrella Academy. I can't really remember what happened. The premise of this book is so out there, and the people that have powers have very different powers, and you don't spend a lot of time with them on the page, so trying to remember who has what powers and what their names are is pretty difficult unless you're actually really paying attention, which I guess I wasn't. I have a feeling that this is going to be something I'm going to enjoy better as the adaptation than I am enjoying as the comics. Not saying that I don't like the comics, I'm just saying that they don't leave a lasting impression, whereas if I spend more time with the story via a different visual medium, I'm going to get to know the characters a little bit better. The final book I read this week was Hot Dog Girl. This I read for Summerathon, and I actually made a Summerathon reading vlog, so I will link that in places because you can definitely check that out. This book is about Lou. It takes place the summer before her senior year of high school, and she works at an amusement park, unfortunately, as a dancing hot dog. She has this theory that it's not the summer after high school, but the summer just before your senior year that is the best summer ever, and she really wants to make that happen, but it seems like everything is conspiring for that to not happen. She comes up with this huge scheme to end up dating this boy that she really likes, but who already has a girlfriend, which that was red flags for me. However, I can say I really enjoyed how this book turned out. Part of me had inklings about how it might go down, but I was very happy that it went down that path and all of her really terrible behavior was addressed. If you want to see me talk more about my thoughts throughout the book while also drinking way too much sangria, like I said, you can watch my reading vlog. The one movie I watched this week was Endgame. Yes, I've already seen it, but my roommate had not, so I made him go to it and he cried 4 times, so again, we love Endgame. There's really not much I can say about this movie, 1, because I've talked about it before, and 2, because if you also haven't seen it, I am not going to spoil anything for you. Of course, we also watched some more of the 21st season of Survivor. I'm getting to know the characters a little bit more, unlike last time when I was like, I literally don't remember what happened. As it is so far though, this isn't one of those standout seasons for me. I'm glad that we've got to a point where there's kind of a switch up, but I can almost guarantee you that when I get back from my 3-week trip, I'm not going to remember any of these people when we start back up where we left off. The other show I watched this week was Glow. We watched the entire 1st season and a couple of episodes from the 2nd season before I had to leave town. Glow, or Glamorous Ladies of Wrestling, is a TV show done by Netflix that is set in the 80s, and it's all about these people who are going to be on this show glamorous ladies of wrestling. It stars Alison Brie, who I know from Community, and I think the show is cast very, very well. I would highly recommend it because even at points where you're like, this is some 80s grossness, it challenges those points and talks about them, which I appreciate. The book I finished listening to this week was actually recommended by somebody who views my videos, and that was This Is How It Always Is. I asked when I did my wrap-up for the Queer Lit Readathon what everybody's favorite book of the week was, and this was somebody's favorite book, and I can see why. This was definitely a 5 stars for me as well. This book is centered around this one family that is headed by Pen and Rosie. They get together, they basically have this beautiful romance. He is a writer and she is a doctor. And then when they start having children together, they have a boy, and just over a year later they have another boy, and they really want to try for a girl because she lost a little sister when she was younger to leukemia, so she would really like to have a daughter. Of course, when they try one more time for a daughter, they get twin boys. And when they try one more time, they do get a biosex male, but we find out pretty soon in Claude's life that he is a girl. The writing in this book is absolutely beautiful. I especially like the scenes that were very intimate between the parents because just the way they communicated was just so lovely. And then also the narrator of this audiobook did a very good job of differentiating between different characters. It can be the case that when somebody is doing a little kid voice, it's annoying, but I found that this little kid voice actually worked really well. And even though 5 kids is a lot on the page, you could actually get the personalities of the different characters through the writing, which I found phenomenal. This story definitely takes some difficult turns, so know that going into it, but ultimately it was absolutely gorgeous and I think everyone should read it. That's it for this week. My next video will be from the east coast of Canada, so look forward to that. Have you read, watched, or listened to any of these? Let me know about it down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye!